Hello malt mates, welcome to review number 1127. You're in the bothy, the whisky bothy, and I am reviewing this, which is Tullibardine 15-year-old single malt Scotch whisky, bottled at 43%. So it's just chill. It is chill filtered. You can see by the colour that it's most likely, it's the kind of slightly orange glow that's kind of catching the light quite nicely in the bothy here. There's a bit of caramel colourant in this, and this is part of a series on widely available generic official bottling whiskies, which are simply not bottled for real whisky enthusiasts. Because real whisky enthusiasts are a relatively small part of the whisky market when you're a big whisky company. You need to have further outreach to more passive consumers who are going to be going for the bling. They're buying the bling. So I'm going to kind of review this and then introduce something particularly interesting about this bottle at the end of the review, which I will then carry forward into review number 1127 extras, which will be the video that comes after this. So what do we have here? We have an unpeated Highland single malt whisky from the the lower parts of, I don't want to cause confusion here by saying the Lowland Highlands, from the lower part of the Highlands. So you're talking in the same general vicinity as Glenturret, Stroke, Glengoyne, that sort of general area. But there's a kind of fair distance between them, because the Highland region is the single largest whisky region in Scotland. And what should you expect from the Highland region whiskies? Well, a little bit of complexity, malt, even peated or unpeated. You're getting a less sweet style of whisky, a more meaty, more substantial style compared to the general or average Speysiders. So we're talking Ben Nevis, good example, Glenturret, another reasonable example actually, and of course Edradour. This is the 15-year-old version. The price for it was quite reasonable, which was one reason why I bought it. It's £55 a bottle in the UK. Now that's a very good price relatively for a 15-year-old whisky. But there's a reason for that price, and I'll come to it shortly. Fresh, fruity, slightly old-fashioned confectionery, so we're talking very, very mild cough drops, cough sweets, very gentle medicinal note. Apples, pears, soft banana, grapes, most certainly. A little bit of more fragrant or Chantilly melon, yes. Sorry, Guadeloupe melon. Hint of ginger, soft integrated vanilla, sultana, mild sultana, light, fruity, elegant, unimposing, unpretentious. This is Tullibardine for you, and I think primarily what's missed about Tullibardine, and the fact that it is such an unglamorous whisky. So unglamorous that it's really up there with Tamnavolan and Strathmill. Even the independent bottlers don't really want to stock it. And I think the reason for that is it's very misunderstood. Because the few independent bottlings I've had of Tullibardine have been fantastically fragrant, wonderful whiskies. And the reason I enjoyed them, and it took me a while to realise it, and that is that Tullibardine Distillery is a distillery in the Highlands that's in fact Lowlands in style. Light, unpretentious, elegant, fruity. There's nothing particular stands out, but everything's well integrated. So I think it tends to be overlooked and underrated. In this, the 15-year-old version, we've got an extra few years in some competent casks. Nothing special, but they are competent. And you're getting a slight American cream soda note on the nose, which is quite unusual in Scotch whisky and really enjoyable here. Taste, and it is 43%. So I will not be adding a lot of water, if at all. Soft, gingery, slightly confectionery, sweet and sour arrival, gentle, mild. The 43% just gives it enough bite to deliver the personality and the signature more successfully. The development becomes a little more green, a little bit more garden herbs, particularly thyme, soft or white sage. And the finish, slightly gingery, soft tannins, and a little bit of slightly overripe nuttiness. Particularly almonds, but there's a range of nuts, a kind of surfacing in the finish. I'm going to add a drop of water here, but I'm going to literally use my dropper this time rather than, no, I'm going to use the spoon for consistency. Literally a few drops. That's as much as it can take. It has been diminished through the process of chill filtration. However, it's probably a really good gift whisky for someone who is not big into Scotch whisky and most likely has never tried Tullibardine before. The main purpose of this distillery is to produce fillers for blends. That's its main role. And it has had its time in the sun very, very briefly in the past, around about the period where they bottled the Murray version of Tullibardine, which was probably one of the best official bottlings for decades. And they had a few smaller versions, smaller batches at higher strength, which were very, very welcome and were just beginning to get noticed by the authentic whisky fans at the point in which they discontinued them. So figure that one out. I've added a few drops of water back to the nose. The nose, gentle, soft, very lowland in style. It's a shy nose. It's not giving much away, but it tends to understate what you're going to get in the palate. It doesn't prepare you for what you're going to get in the palate. The palate delivers a lot more, but the nose in particular is suppressed because of the process of industrial grade chill filtering, which always knocks the stuffing out of whisky and removes flavour. But you know that. The nose coming back a little bit, fragrant, floral, fruity, white fruits, summer fruits, generally yellow and white fruits, slight peach note as well, kiwi fruit, a hesitant arrival, but we've added water. So it's much more organised now as it reaches out into the palate. Deliciously soft, sweet, sour, bitter. It's a perfect triad of these three sensations. It's really nice to see that delightful astringency coming from the sour note, which is adding complexity into the fresh fruit. So we're getting apricot stone, we're getting softer white and green plum notes in the development. It's really helping to accent the fresh fruit components into the finish, which has got a little bit of angelica in it, very, very soft, understated, almost vegetal vanilla. The tannins are soft, crispy, suppressed, of course, from the chill filtration. But this is, in my opinion, a very competent whisky for starters But if you're an experienced whisky hand, you're going to find it under-delivering, seriously under-delivering. Look out for independent bottlings. They are far, far more honest, dynamic, and actually present Tullibardine as it really, really, really should be, which is probably one of the most underrated, overlooked single malts in the entire Scotch whisky Parthenon. Just saying it. Let's give it a mark. It's competent. Perfectly competent. And I'm giving an extra mark because it's got character. But it's under-delivered. Having said that, this is widely available. It's globally available. You'll find it in travel retail. In other words, you'll find it at airports. 81 out of 100. It's a malt mark. And if you pop back for review number 1127 extras, I shall talk about this because it needs to be talked about. See you then.